We are backstage at Forward Conference, and we are with our uncle, the uncle of Forward Conference, Reggie Dabbs.
It's so good to be home.
Oh man, we love you so much. And you've been coming here every year.
Every year.
Every year. And one of the things I love about you is the way that you connect with the crowd. You can connect with anybody, anywhere, and also how you just. I remember one year you were giving out your cell phone number, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Some of them still have it.
Yeah, they still probably text.
I still get texts. Yeah, absolutely.
What is your favorite testimony that you have over the years? And I know you probably have to go through filing cabinet in your brain, but the favorite testimony from Forward Conference.
What stands out in my mind was last year, because in the middle of it was my talk, I gave a suicide altar call, and it was just a moment where God just showed up.
Yeah.
And there was a kid who responded to that altar call, and she later on, without her or me knowing it, I did a public assembly program at her high school. And so I walked into her school at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. She looks up and starts weeping, runs and hugs me, and the whole gym stops. And she stops and turns to everyone who was then in a gym class and said, I was going to commit suicide, but he saved my life, and he's at our school today. Everybody's got to listen. And it was one of the most powerful assembly programs that came as a result of Forward Conference.
Yeah.
And so I remember that like it was yesterday, and it's just amazing what God's doing at this conference.
So yeah, I love how you always are getting stories, and I think the reason that is because you yourself have such a powerful story, and there's something that your story carries, really everyone's story carries, and I kind of want you to talk about a little bit about your life, a little bit about your story, if people don't know who are watching.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was in the first grade parent-teacher conference. I was the first kid whose parents had to show up, and both my mom and dad came. And when the teacher talked for 5 minutes and we walked outside, all my friends' parents were young, but my parents were old. So in the car going home, I asked my parents, why you old? And they told me when we got home, they sit me down and said that they want my mom, they're not my dad, and that I grew up in foster care. Part of my story, not a lot of people know, is I didn't have a last name until I was 14 years old. My name was Reggie, but there was no last name on my birth certificate. So legally, I couldn't even pretend to have the name that my parents who were raising me had. But at 14, my foster care dad, he fought the court and won.
Wow.
And gave me the name Reggie Dabbs. And that's what Jesus does. He'll fight for us, and he'll win.
Yeah.
And he'll give us a name that the world won't give us.
Come on.
And that could preach by itself.
Yeah.
But what I needed people, and what I tell people all the time is, my mom gave me away. She kept my brother and my 2 sisters, but she said I was a mistake. And whatever the world throws away, Jesus will take. And like Pastor said, he'll get the dirt out of the well, and he'll make you sweet.
How do you deal with that spirit of rejection? I think that in this generation, there's so many, being a youth pastor, you really encounter so many students who don't have dads, who don't have moms, who are so happy. Broken homes are running rampant in this generation. I think, there's going to be students watching, and even pastors, I think, as well, giving them a little bit of insight on, hey, this is how you deal with the spirit of rejection, or, different things like that.
Yeah, you might live in a house, but it's not a home.
Yeah.
But we can be your home. As pastors, as youth groups, as youth leaders. And we take that thing as I'm Uncle Reggie as a joke, but is it really? No, it's not at all. Because there are kids in this arena who are from an absolute broken of broken. And tomorrow night, and I don't know if I should date this or not, but I'm speaking tomorrow night, and I'm exactly talking about that. How do you get past today? What do we do after tonight? And the title of my whole session is Turn Your Phone Off and Look Me in the Eye.
So good.
So what I'm really saying is turn off the world and look Jesus in the eye.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell you that he caught every one of your tears in a jar, and he knows each and every one of them. And he's able to take care of you, that he's close to the brokenhearted and heals those who are crushed in spirit. He has a plan. Yeah. And so you just walked right into that, and that's kind of cool, but that's what Forwards does. That's what Forward Conference is about. It's about equipping kids to be what Jesus meant them to be. Amen. And not be ashamed, and to stand for it. Amen. And believe in him. So that's what we do.
So speaking about this generation, I think that this generation carries probably the greatest strength, I think, out of any generation coming up, to reach people for Jesus,
Absolutely.
to make differences, to bring freedom, but they also have some of the greatest challenges. And so you travel all over the world. People don't really understand. You may not understand that you're in high schools all over the world.
Yeah.
You're probably more in tune in especially the public school realm than anybody else because you're there. What's the greatest strength you see in this generation, and then what is maybe the thing that we need to keep our eye on?
I think the strength and weaknesses are both in the same device, because it's of course social media, and it's the cell phone, the iPads, the laptops. The communication realm is so wide open that the kids, this is the first generation that does not need an adult to teach them anything.
Wow.
They can find it on their own. All they got to do is say, "Hey Siri," and she'll answer that question for them, whether it's right or wrong. She'll give them an answer, but Siri can't hug you.
Wow.
Siri can't walk in your bedroom and say, "Hey, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. You're going to make it through this." But we, Forward Conference, we as leaders and pastors, we can do that. We have that. So the kids' disadvantage is that they can live a whole life disconnected with anyone who can actually help them. But their plus is that they have a device in their hand that can reach out for hope, reach out for love. They can find that. There are kids in this room who go, "Hey, you put me to sleep every night." I had a kid say that today. I said, "How do I do that?" And he goes, "I just hit some kind of YouTube video of you preaching, and for some reason, it helps me go to sleep."
Wow.
That's what we do.
That's powerful.
And so it's our negative, but it's our positive. And we just got to keep putting the videos out. And you see little things like if you go through Instagram, TD Jakes will pop up on a quick sermon. Pastor Jensen will pop up, and it's only like 45 seconds of his sermon, but it's 45 seconds that you never had until you had that phone.
So good.
And so now, as the gospel is going into the world, it can go into all the world, and we can preach the gospel so that Jesus can return. And that's just the cool part. So it's good and bad at the same time, but we just got to let kids know that there's a place you can go for hope.
So good. And if there's, not everyone may have the opportunity to have a conversation with you, but I think what you said, like technology, this is why we're setting up this space.
Absolutely.
Is so people can have 10, 15 minutes with Uncle Reggie.
Absolutely.
And so I want to give you the opportunity, if there's one thing that, say, man, I wish if you could have a conversation with me, and we really are, this is the one thing I wish you would walk away with this, and knowing this is what Uncle Reggie thinks about you.
Absolutely. That you're not alone. I think loneliness is something that leads to depression, that leads to suicide, that leads to a whole life being ruined. And so wherever you're sitting, whatever you're going through, I just need you to know that you're not alone. And we'll cry with you, we'll laugh with you, we'll move with you, we'll dig with you. And we just want every kid, whether you can come to Forward or your youth pastor says, "I don't ever want to go to that," too many people, still, because of our technology, now you're loved. And we believe in you. And we're praying for you that God's going to use you to change this world.
Amen. And the last question is this: why does a young person need to attend Forward Conference 2020?
You will never find a spot that could change your life more than this arena on this weekend in June. And you need to experience it, because once you've done it, it ain't the conference, it's the presence of God and His hand on the conference.
Amen.
And you'll never be the same again. Leaders, quit coming up with excuses why not. If you love your kids, you need to get on the phone, you need to go online and get that early bird registration. Just go ahead and just drop the church credit card down. Tell them you're sorry after it goes through, and it'll be all right, because your kids are going to be changed. You can trust us with your kids.
Amen. Yeah, ask for forgiveness, not permission. Sign them up.
Works.
Yeah, Forward 2020. Thank you so much, Reggie Dabbs.
Thank you, man.
Such a blessing every year. We can't wait for next year and what God's going to do.
I can't believe it. I'm so glad I get to come back.
Come on.